Most people, if they're single, they're looking for the most compatible, attractive, financially stable person that they can find that loves Jesus.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's like, when was the last time we made the standard of in sickness and in health?
Yeah.
The biggest lesson I got from that entire season of my life was watching my parents love each other when it wasn't easy. And it was never easy. That marked me.
Hey everybody, I'm Todd Mullins. Welcome to Made for More, a podcast all about helping you live the life you were made for. This is a space where we talk about faith that works and leadership that lasts, and how to bring both of those into the everyday moments that shape our lives. My goal is to give you perspective so you can win where it matters most. And I hope you walk away from this conversation a little more encouraged and a little more equipped for all God has called you to do and who He's called you to be. Enjoy today's episode. Well, everybody, I am so excited to have our good friend Ryan Leak back with us today on the podcast. Good to have you here, Ryan.
Oh, thank you. It's always an honor to be with you,
man.
my friend.
You may not know this, but you are the most requested speaker at Christ Fellowship.
Is that right?
Yeah, don't tell John Maxwell that.
I will certainly tell John Maxwell that.
But,
wow, man, that's such an honor.
Yeah, all the time people are like, when is Ryan Leak coming back to speak at Christ Fellowship? So
that's awesome.
Yeah, if you're a part of the Christ Fellowship family, then you know Ryan and you're used to, man, just what God has on his life and how he's poured that out. And if you're not a part of the Christ Fellowship community, man, you need to know Ryan Leak. Ryan, God's using your voice right now in so many different arenas, from the corporate world with Fortune 500 companies, writing books, you're speaking, and every time I get around you where you're teaching at a conference or some gathering where you're talking, I always leave just more full of courage, ready to charge the hill. I don't know, you've got that in you. You help people get unstuck and see what they can do. And so today's going to be good. We're going to dive into some questions and talk about a few things. You are I want to start with the book that you just came out, and we're going to put a link in the show notes to this book, which is the most creative cover. When I got the whole box with this book in it, there was so much in there, but just even the cover, and it's called How to Work with Complicated People. And what a great title, because that affects all of us. We all got to work with complicated people, or we are the complicated people that other people got to work with. And so there is so much in here. And you even say, the most complicated person you got to work with is yourself, right?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Let's talk about the book for a minute, because it's not a Christian book written to the Christian audience, but it's full of Christian principles. Talk about the intentionality behind that decision.
Yeah, I think one of the things that part of my upbringing, growing up as a pastor's kid, but also having a heart for business, I saw the impact that my dad could make on a Sunday, and I thought, what if we could do this on Monday?
Yeah.
What if we could do this on Tuesday? And so I went to school for business, but I went to a Bible school. So I got a Bible minor, and my degree is business administration. Nobody even knows what that means, but I got a business degree. And so I graduated with this passion for ministry, but this mind for business. And I just always wanted to make an impact in the business space, to be able to earn the right to share my faith. And so it's very intentional, because I certainly could write Christian books, and I'm not saying I'll never write Christian books, but I always wanted to be able to make an impact in the marketplace. I'll never forget, I actually wrote a Christian book called Unoffendable, and I was getting ready to speak for my very first Fortune 100 company, and they had reviewed all of my books online or whatever. And at the time, we were talking about a book called Chasing Failure. That's what they were bringing me in to talk about. And she goes, "Hey, can you tell me more about this Unoffendable thing?" And I was like, well, you see, it's a book about forgiveness, and it's a Christian book. And they said, "Hey, we are not allowed to distribute Christian books in our organization." She said, "Is there any way that you could write a business edition of it?" And I was like, I'm sure I can figure something out. And so I went and made a business edition of it, and people in our church were like, "Oh my gosh, we need this edition, because we need to be able to take it to work." That's actually the story behind how to work with complicated people.
Yeah.
It was birthed with this idea of what would it look like for us to be able to let go of offense and be able to have difficult conversations and whatnot. And so so it's very, very intentional, because I believe that when believers are helpful before they're spiritual, they earn the right to be spiritual in somebody's life. And so what we try to do with my company and with our content is we just try to be as helpful as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And if we add value to their life, I am amazed, absolutely blown away by the amount of people who say, hey, Ryan, you can share your faith today. We trust you that much. In fact, you don't know this. I don't think I've even told you this story. I was speaking here at Christ Fellowship a year ago. And then somebody that owns a business said, hey, we want to book you to speak. They called my agent and they booked me to speak. And so I show up in Chicago. And I didn't know, I had no idea how I would be introed. I gave them the bio that they read. Ryan's a New York Times bestselling author, podcaster, coming to stage. He gets up and he says, hey, so Ryan was speaking at my church. And it blew me away. And I thought, he should come share with us. So I don't know what he's going to say, but I think it's going to have value to your life. Give
That's
it up
great.
for Ryan Lee.
Yeah.
And I thought,
you don't have to hide that.
I don't, because sometimes you have to finagle it.
Yeah,
He's just
sure.
like, no,
go for it. That's
it's
good.
where I saw you. He goes, you helped me then, and I thought you could help my people. And so there's great intentionality there, and I think there's a lot of building a bridge. I think with the marketplace is one of my passions.
So you jump a lot between helping out churches and ministries like Christ Fellowship, where you come and preach and speak or work with teams, but then you also spend a lot of time helping out these companies and Fortune 100 exec teams. Speak a little bit about what's similar and what's distinctive between those two.
Well, the church, both have their strengths and weaknesses. The church is putting on an event, a sacred event. I mean, how many events will CF do this year? 150?
Yeah.
Between conferences, youth events,
weekly Sunday services, Wednesday services.
Yeah, I mean, and you've got to have so much compelling elements to keep people coming back. Whereas a lot of the corporate events we're just here to train you. Mm-hmm. It can even be very vanilla. And so, but there can be more of a cerebral, dude, and every audience is different. Mm-hmm. I could be speaking to engineers. I did in what was it? An eyelashes leadership conference. These are the top leaders in the eyelash industry.
Wow, I didn't know there was such a thing.
I didn't either. Yeah. And you get there, you're just like, oh, here we go.
Are. We're talking about eyelashes.
So I think part of it is just trying to serve the audience that is in front of you as best as you can.
It's great.
And just trying to make it about them. I think that's where I used to feel a big difference. I used to feel like, okay, I'm doing a corporate engagement. Okay, now I'm at church. Mm-hmm. Now I'm just, man, how can I serve the people in front of me? Great. How can I help them become all that God's called them to be? How can I help them go to the next level as a leader? Yeah. And so that kind of helps create a nice equilibrium for me when I'm walking into a room, just to be able to help whoever's in front of me. It's
a good perspective. No matter what you do, whatever job, career, calling, whatever you're at, man, just how do you help people? How do you lift them up? Yeah. Back to the book, how to work with complicated people, which could be how to live with complicated people, how to, when you're married to complicated people, that's probably what Julie would call it. Yeah. You have a whole chapter dedicated to communication and how important communication is. Yes. Man, just give insight, because some of the people listening, they haven't read the book yet. Yeah. Insight to that and how we avoid sometimes the hard conversations in a relationship and how that only hurts the relationship.
Yeah. So, some of the things that again, I'm trying to practice. I'm not the communication expert. I'm consistently practicing this. So my sweet Amanda watching this could be going, okay, we'll see.
We'll see this week.
But part of it is, I think we have to redefine internally what the goal of our conversation is going to be. Most people, especially when they're having a difficult conversation, don't even realize that their actual goal, they've never even perhaps said this out loud, their goal for the conversation is agreement. Mm. The goal of the difficult conversation is for you to think like me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you to come over to the other side. We are playing tug of war, and at the end of the day, I want to win. If we shift the goal from I need us to agree to I need us to connect, if the new goal is connection, well, then the conversation gets a whole lot easier.
Right.
Because connection is what gives us relational equity. If you don't have relational equity, you're not going to be able to have a difficult conversation. Your best friend can call you out, but a comment on the internet, they could say the exact same thing and you're offended.
Right.
What's the difference? Equity.
Yeah.
So it's not as much about the content as it is the equity. If you don't have connection in a difficult conversation, it's kind of like trying to buy a house with bad credit. It's like no matter
what you do,
it's not gonna. It's not.
You're not going to move in that house.
It's not going to get approved.
Yeah.
And so if the point is connection, well, now it's just like, hey, now my tone's different.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to win the conversation. I'm trying to win you. Like I'm trying to establish.
To win us. We're trying to get us back on. Right.
If that connection is there, man, we could talk about anything. If that connection is there with your team, we could talk about anything.
Yeah.
But if you're a disconnected leader, if you're a disconnected husband, if you're a disconnected mom, if you're a disconnected father, and you're trying to talk to your kids about this thing that is so important and you want them to do what you want them to do, if there's no connection, they're not listening. You said it, but they didn't hear it. I think the second layer of communication is really around tone and posture. It's everything. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
So if, let's just say there's a marital dispute, and let's say one of them feels like, hey, I don't feel like you love me anymore. And you're never romantic. We haven't been on a date forever. Well, that's one way of saying it. But that's inviting them to a courtroom. It's a trial.
Yeah.
And so now what that person's going to immediately do is get their defense attorney in their head, and they're going to start pulling emotional files.
Yeah.
This is the last time I was romantic. I just sent you flowers for Mother's Day, and and now they're what? Defensive.
Yeah.
You're not even having a conversation anymore.
Yeah.
Versus saying, hey, I know this is a busy season for the both of us. Do you think over the next couple of weeks we could go for a walk? Go on a date? The truth is, I miss you. And I'd love to just talk about how we can be intentional with each other in this busy season of our life. You're saying the same thing, but you said it completely different with a completely different tone, posture.
Yeah.
And that's being invited to a table, not a trial.
That's great.
So if now I'm invited to a table to have a conversation, I'm not even coming defensive. I'm going, I miss you too. It has been busy. How can we reconnect? How can we be intentional with each other and our family over? Let's call a timeout together. But if you get invited to the courtroom, it's just evidence versus evidence, and then it's just tug of war, and you're just not going to get a whole lot of places. And so I think if you're going to have a difficult conversation, ask yourself the question: am I inviting them to a trial, or am I inviting them to a table? Tables, it's a game changer. Trials, nobody wins.
That's great. What a great word picture. What a great analogy for everybody listening, because we've all got those relationships that are tense or broken, or they need just attention. And we need to take the initiative to actually bring restoration and bring oneness. And if we move away from trying to make a point to trying to reconnect with the person, man, there's going to be a lot more wins for all of us. That right there was worth the whole podcast today. That was really, really important. Jesus said in Matthew 5, if you're in worship and remember your brother's got something against you, leave. Go and leave your offering, which would have been an animal. Just let it go and go be reconciled, because the relationship is worth it and so important. It didn't say go resolve the problem. A lot of times I get into a thing with Julie or somebody, and I'm trying to resolve the problem, but the real issue is the relationship and making sure that's whole. So the book's going to help us get better in all of that. It is. I love it, man. It's helping me. Okay, let's shift gears just for a minute, because I think it's easy, Ryan, when people look at your life, they see you coming in preaching, or they see you speaking at these corporate events, they can think, man, this guy's so successful. He must have had just an upper hand in life, like things handed to him, a lot of advantage, a lot of that going on. But the truth is, your life's been marked with some real adversity.
Sure.
And you've shared before about how your dad had a stroke when you were like in the fifth grade,
that's right.
and how that you had to kind of grow up fast, and that forced a lot of issues into your life.
Yeah.
Speak to that a little bit and what you learned through those seasons of adversity that made you who you are today.
Yeah, it was very interesting, like almost like psychology experiment. Like sometimes I like replay it in my head and just go, what was going on with that kid that would make him like do that or say that or respond that way? Because when my dad had a stroke, I remember walking up to my mother in the hospital and I said, don't worry about me. Just take care of him. Take care of my older brothers. And I said, hey, I'll be fine. Why would a fifth grader say that? I have no idea. But that was the day I became very entrepreneurial. It was like I became super independent, and I'm like, I don't know why. I literally have no idea why those words came out of my. I mean, it was true, but it was like I have no idea how I'm going to figure it out. But I wasn't worried about me, but I was worried about everybody else. And what I learned in that season was actually what faithfulness and commitment actually looked like with my parents. So my parents were married just shy over 33 years, I believe. They were married before my dad passed away. He had a stroke when I was in the 5th grade, and then he had another stroke 18 years later. So my mother took care of my father for most of their marriage. So if you think about vows in a marriage where you hear in sickness and in health, most of us just assume in health.
Yeah.
My mother mostly was married in sickness. The last 2 years of my dad's life, he could not speak. My mother drove 45 minutes both ways to a nursing home for 2 years in a row. Every anniversary, birthdays, holidays, and would sit in silence, just being faithful. My dad could nod his head. He was aware that she was in the room. Would bring his favorite movie, and they would watch a movie in pure silence. And so it's interesting. You contrast what most people think is romantic.
Yeah.
What you think is reality TV. You think most people, if they're single, they're looking for the most compatible, attractive, financially stable person that they can find that loves Jesus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's like, when was the last time we like made the standard of like, no, I'm just in sickness and in health.
Yeah.
Like if this doesn't go well, ups and downs, I'm here for the valleys. That was probably the biggest lesson I got from that entire season of my life, was watching my parents love each other when it wasn't easy. All of the other life stuff and money stuff, or trying to figure out college on my own, all of that stuff, you can get that. But to get a front row seat to watch two people love each other for a very long time, and it was never easy.
Yeah.
That marked me.
Yeah.
That whenever I think about, I've got this thing and it's really tough, and I'm like, not that tough.
Yeah. No.
Like it. And so my parents really inspired me with that.
I think a lot of people think that relationships are supposed to be easy. It should come natural. Like we should we should get along and everything's great. And as long as the chemistry's great, everything's great. But when the chemistry's gone or there's some problem, they're gone. And the truth is great relationships are not natural.
For sure.
They're highly unnatural. They're actually supernatural because they require something that's supernatural, to love selflessly, to lay our life down for, to love the other person more than we love ourselves. Everything Jesus taught us in how to love in relationships, it's highly unnatural. And so when it's hard, don't run, man. Just rely on the power of God working in you to, love people that way. That's good. Hey, this podcast is called Made for More, and it's all about helping people listening discover the more that God made them for, and not settle. And you have dedicated a lot of your talks and your writing to helping people get unstuck. And a lot of times people fail because they don't feel like they're ready. So they just keep waiting and waiting and waiting.
Sure.
And you write that courage is rarely loud.
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit about the danger of just people waiting until they're ready.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question, because the reality is if you wait until you're ready, you may never do anything.
Never do
with your
anything.
life.
That's right.
That's just not how opportunities work. Opportunities do not wait for your kids to be grown.
Yeah.
They don't wait for your bank account to be secure. They don't wait for you to look the way you want to look when you lose weight, gain weight, when you're in a different season of life. That's not how opportunities work. Opportunities, they love knocking on your door and saying, ready or not, here I come. And in those moments, it's not a matter of if you're ready, it's if you're going to answer the door.
Yeah.
If you're going to take that next step. I think people can pray big prayers, but I think big prayers require big steps of faith.
Yeah.
Sometimes not even a step, sometimes it's a leap. But I just try to encourage people to take that next step. If you're gonna pray big, you better be able to step big. And so I know a lot of people who are believing in faith, but they don't want to like do anything with it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like I wish I was more ready, but that's not how opportunities work.
Yeah.
The opportunities, like they come in all different shapes and sizes. I think the one thing that you can control is just going, Lord, like, would you prepare me as much as I possibly can? I remember I was speaking at this church in Dallas, very, very sanctuary seats, like 4,000 people. Second time I'd ever spoken there. And just some context, there had just been a shooting. A black guy shot, I think it was 4 or 5 police officers in Dallas, maybe 3 days before. And somebody said something like, are you nervous? Like speaking at a predominantly white church after this like tense race stuff. And I was like, I mean, I mean, should I be? Like, are you trying to tell me something? And I was like, no biggie. I was fine. Well, while I was speaking, I see a guy go, huh! And he looked like he had been like attacked or something. And he just falls over.
Stop. Really?
And
while you're preaching?
While I'm preaching.
What'd you do? Did you keep preaching?
I look in the back and I was like, and again, what somebody had just said to me was in my head. I'm like,
did you just get
do
shot,
I need to run? Do I need like, and I'm like looking for security, like y'all better talk to me, right? And so I just said, hey, I need everybody to look up here. I said, we don't know what's going on in the back, but we do know how to pray.
Yeah.
And so I just prayed and closed the service. A guy had a heart attack.
Wow.
And so afterwards, a woman walked up to me. I was 28, 29, 10 years ago. She walks up to me. She goes, we were so nervous for you. I was like, I was nervous for me. And she says, but I was so nervous for you. I said, it's okay. She goes, do you want to know what calmed me down? I said, what? She said, the Lord whispered to me in that moment, I've prepared him. Don't worry about him. And that has stuck with me a lot. Like there's times where I'm like overwhelmed by like what's in front of me or what I've got to do next or who I'm about to speak to or who I'm about to meet. And I just remember that elderly lady all the time.
Yeah.
I've prepared him.
Yeah.
And so there's some things that I think just by just spending time in prayer and spending time in the word that says, Lord, I don't know what's always going to be in front of me, but Lord, would you prepare me as best as I possibly can to be ready for whatever opportunity you have for me. And when it happens, when the door opens, may I not give any excuses.
Yeah, that's good. That really talks to what you've said about not playing it small, right?
Yeah.
Also, you've talked a lot about like if you can't beat fear, just do it scared anyway, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit, because you talk a lot about courage and and usually what I find is those of us that talk about something a lot, it's something that we have had to try to overcome ourselves. So like I wrote a book on doubt because I've had to overcome doubt, right? And so you had to work with a lot of complicated people, I guess. But talk a little bit about, when you stepped out and did something courageous that maybe you weren't ready for, and you weren't ready for, let's just say that, but you learned that doing it scared actually changed the trajectory of your life.
I would say it's the whole theme of my life. If I'm honest, it's writing books is very, very scary because it's printed forever, and you want to go back and change. I would actually say that completely different today. Just like, yeah, well, it's on the shelf. It is what it is. Every time I write a book, it's the scariest thing in the world because you've got naysayers and, well, what if that's not true, or what if that's not relatable, and you're guessing, and it can be very, very hard. What I've learned is, let it go be bad. It's the only way you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much I've learned about writing books that most people will never know because they'll never write a book.
Yeah.
But because I wrote the first one, John Maxwell says this all the time. He goes, your first one won't be good anyway, so you might as well get it out the way. And it's so true. Like, you just, at some point, you've got to hit post. You've got to write the thing. You've got to read the thing. You've got to make a move.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, you're just always going to live for security. But I don't believe that God has called any of us to just live safe and secure for the rest of our lives, or I don't want to use the word safe, comfortable. Yeah. And I think the gospel compels us to get outside of our comfort zone in so many different ways. And so what I've learned is it's you can only get good by trying.
Yeah. And even messing up.
Yeah. But if you're waiting for it to be perfect, then you're never gonna do anything. I mean, I could give you so many blunders of speaking in corporate America, speaking in church, saying the wrong thing. I was preaching at a church one time, and I told this whole story about how goats aren't good climbers, and how God had to carry the goat up one side of the mountain while Abraham was coming up the other side, because there's no way a goat could have climbed up that mountain on its own. And so isn't it amazing that God was carrying provision on one side, and Abraham was nervous on the other side? And I made this whole point about how God's on the other side of your mountain carrying up a deal. And then afterwards, the pastor just texts me and says, well, actually, goats are excellent climbers.
Yeah. Okay. I won't use that illustration again. Yeah.
And here's the funny thing. I'm not going to say his name, but one of the most recognizable names in Christianity preached that whole message. And I had heard like goats, and he broke down the whole animal thing. And so I just assumed he was right.
Yeah.
He was not right. It's like listening to ChatGPT and being like, oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. And it was like, and I told it to all, and he goes, hey, great message though. but I'm okay with making mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with that. This weekend, I'm prepared, but is it going to be perfect? I mean, I'd like it to be perfect, but it's not going to be perfect. A human's going to be up there, and somebody might get the wrong idea about church. I'm talking about generosity, and so, people can get a little wiry on that subject anyways. But I feel like my heart's in the right place, but this is what I can guarantee is going to happen this week.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. People are going to get helped, number one. God will be glorified, number two. Number three, I will get better.
Yeah, that's good.
Guarantee it.
Yeah.
And the way I see it is, first service, I'm going to come to you afterwards and go, hey, how could it be better? You're going to say, well, man, if you get your act together and don't say that, and, and you get whatever it is, but it's like, well, then second service, we'll get better. We'll get better.
Yeah, that's the way I do it every Sunday.
And then we'll do second service, and I'll say, hey, how can it be better? And third time,
it's gonna be great.
Third time's
gonna be
right.
Yeah.
So but you can't get better if you don't get started.
Yeah.
And so you
can't get better if you don't get started.
I'm always just trying to get people to just say, hey, go get started. Our company helps authors, pastors, speakers grow their brands. And it's always so fun. I just smile with everybody at the beginning. They're just like, dude, it only got 2,000 views. I said, do you know 2,000 people? It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
You're comparing it to what? Millions? You don't know millions of people.
Yeah.
You got to impact 2,000 people. That's a lot. It's a lot of people. Hey, don't forget, you're just getting started.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning. And so I think that most people want like this, like, especially on social, they want something like viral.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, just go be helpful.
Yeah.
Let the algorithms and God take care of what becomes viral and all of that.
Absolutely.
But if you go and help some people get started, hey, you one of the biggest lessons I've learned meeting high net worth people, famous people, is every single one of them is somebody that somebody else does not know and has never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the most Solomon-like things I've learned in my life.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I was with John Maxwell the other day, and a friend in their 50s, Fortune 100 leader.
Who's John Maxwell? And we would think, how do you not know John Maxwell?
You don't know John,
and you're a leader. How does that even happen?
Yeah. NBA players, like, you know, I've been talking to my mom, like, oh mom, you know, this player, he asked me this. She goes, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Okay, you mentioned NBA. Before we wrap up,
sure.
Some people listening don't know that you actually tried out for the NBA.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so talk just a minute about what you were thinking when you walked on to try out for the NBA.
Well, I was doing a documentary called Chasing Failure, trying to inspire people and honestly trying to, you know, jumpstart myself, you know. So I reached out to a bunch of NBA teams, which is just insanity, to say, hey, would you let me come work out for your basketball team? They're supposed to say no. And the Phoenix Suns said yes. Come on Monday. I'm like, what? What do you mean, like this Monday?
This Monday?
Yeah, I was a young adult director at our church at the time. So I had to get time off work. I had to go to my pastor and go, hey,
I need to go try out for the NBA.
I won't be there for the Tuesday meeting. He's like, why? I'm like, I'm going to go play basketball in Phoenix. He's like, huh? I go, it's a long story. I'm going to fail. I'll be back on Wednesday. Don't worry, you know. And so I went and tried out for the Phoenix Suns, and there's just levels to this thing. There's I'm typically the tallest person in the room. I instantly became the shortest person in the room. I was 26 at the time. I was the oldest person. I mean, like everything just flipped. But it was one of the best days of my life because the fear of failure fell off of me. Something happened in Phoenix in that practice court that just absolutely unlocked a new level for me of just going, I ain't afraid to get ghosted. I ain't afraid for it to go bad. As I'm failing and realizing that I'm on an NBA practice court, I'm like, how in the world did you get in this room? You got in this room because you emailed somebody? Like that's insanity.
That's insane, yeah.
And Julie from the Phoenix Suns, the woman who was calling and kind of going back and forth to get me out there, as I was lacing up my shoes, I hear her laughing in the corner. And I was like, what? Julie, you okay? What's so funny? She goes, we would never do this in a million years. And I was like, well, that's encouraging, you know, like, so then why'd you do it? She goes, I have no idea. I went, even more encouraging, Julie, this is your gift. And then she says, I'll never forget this, game-changing moment. She says, you know what, Ryan? Your email came on the right day at the right time. Like the reason like that, I love what I do in church, what I do in corporate America. It's the same heart. I just believe that today could be your day.
Yeah. I love it. You said the fear of failure fell off of you that day because you stepped out and you were like, okay, let's go. Somebody listening just probably needs to step out and say, let's go and lose the fear of failure. Let it fall off as you jump into the more God's got for you. Okay, last question. We ask everybody that's on the podcast, how has your definition of more changed as you've matured?
Yeah, you know, when in my 20s, I turned 40 this year. So, you know, I'm having that existential crisis, right? And I remember in my 20s, it was all about more followers. You know, you're thinking about getting married, you're trying to get a house, you're thinking about more money. And as I'm stepping into my 40s, I'm really just thinking about more impact.
Yeah.
Just make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, everything else is, not to steal an Ecclesiastes line, but it's pretty meaningless. I mean, you're going to meet all kinds of people in this world, but how many of them are waking up every single day trying to make more impact
Mm-hmm.
in somebody's life, and that is what is driving me more and more as I wake up every day. Is just I've got an opportunity today to impact somebody's life, and so that has
Great.
has certainly shaped what is about to become my 40s.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
great.
Yeah,
40s are great.
yeah.
And you've impacted our lives.
Oh,
You've
thank
impacted
you.
my life. You impacted the life of our church so
Thank
much.
you.
So,
Yeah.
and if you want Ryan to impact your life, make sure that you get a copy of the book, How to
Yes.
Work with Complicated People. We'll put a link
Awesome.
in our show notes and a link to your website so they can
Yeah.
learn more about you and
Love it.
and follow you. Ryan, thanks for being with
My
us.
pleasure.
Every time you're at Christ Fellowship, we
Yeah.
are always better.
Oh,
and
appreciate it.
thank you for stopping by today. God
My
bless, man.
pleasure.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
For sure.